I fear the heck out of not having fun. And when I'm not in top peak condition for something like that, I don't have that much fun. And the mountains for me, I call it church, and that's where I fuel my spirit. And when I'm up there at church, I got to have a good time doing it.
Welcome to the Spartan DEKA Series on Spartan Up with Jarod, Cogswell, Director of Sport, and Yancy Culp, Director of Programming.
What's up, Spartans? Welcome to the DEKA Series on the Spartan Up Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jarod Cogswell, along with my brother, Yancy Culp.
Thanks for the intro, my brother. Listen, folks, today, episode 2, Find the Right Fitness for You. In our 5-part series, A Life Fueled by Fitness, we're going to give you practical steps today to reboot and in some cases start your fitness journey.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by AmazeFit. From May 18th to May 31st, Spartan Up listeners can head to us.amazefit.com/pages/Spartan to save $40 on a bundle that includes the AmazeFit T-Rex Pro. That's us.amazefit.com/pages/Spartan.
And here's the kicker, and it gets me excited and fired up. We're going to make it stick. We talked about the roller coaster ride last episode. We're going to help get you off that roller coaster ride. We're going to make the program stick, and it's going to yield results.
You know, Yancy, in episode 1 last week, we talked about why people don't exercise, why most people don't exercise. And one of the words that we're trying to eliminate is that word exercise, and instead focus on training. Because just like Bill Bowerman said, if you have a body, you are an athlete. And, so it eliminates some of those excuses like, exercise or training, however you want to phrase it. It's too hard. It takes too much time. But what we really tried to focus on last week was trying to find your purpose to why you train, a purpose to improve your fitness level, a purpose to improve your overall well-being. And to me, that's that thing that'll get you out of bed, off of the couch, and minimize those excuses to be the best version of yourself, right? So what we have to remember first, that this journey is like climbing a mountain, and each phase of the climb matters. Every step forward matters. And if you really want to see that view from the summit, you have to remember it's a process. And today's episode is going to be focused on finding that right fitness for you.
Yeah, and there's some typical problems out there. And, a lot of people don't know, a lot of people don't know what their options are. They see things out there, weightlifting and CrossFit and running and triathlons and cycling and even obstacle course races and all these things to the mat. For somebody like me that I've been competing my whole life, that doesn't seem like a high barrier of entry for me. But for so many people, the optics to that look very high barrier of entry, and they don't know a lot of there's so many options out there, hundreds of options. And I'm going to tell a story here that I hope this pulls you to the edge of your seat, because it darn sure, I knew I had this episode coming up. I went into a fitness class last week at one of our our Spartan DEKA affiliate gyms. And I've been, like you, brother, I've been in 5,000 gyms before. I can't, there's no way to put a number on how many gyms I've been into, how many classes I've been to. I participated in so many sports. I was walking into that class and I was nervous. It was a class I'd never done before. I was like, I was watching the group fitness, Fit Pro, the coach trainer set everything up. I was like, I felt these butterflies, and I'm thinking, if I'm nervous walking into this class, I've been coaching group fitness and personal training for years. I've been going to thousands of classes, and here I was nervous. I was like, I personally want to do a better job at taking my shoes off and putting them on all these people that maybe they even know about that group fitness classes that's out there, And we have to do a better job as gym owners and coaches and fit pros and just friends of people in our life as dropping that barrier of entry and coaching and graciously. I love the word gracious, brother. Graciously pulling them in, because here's what happens. I don't know anything about pickleball. And I would be nervous if I went to pickleball's famous right now. Everybody's doing pickleball. When I went to that first pickleball class, man, I would be nervous because I wouldn't know what I was doing. But you know what? Eventually, I do it for a while, and I was like, my little tribe gets built. My pickleball tribe gets built, or my DEKA tribe gets built. And then it's like, you know what? I'm going to sign up for that pickleball tournament with my friend Susie. We're going to do it together. Or I'm going to sign up for that DEKA event. So as long as we can just graciously pull people in, or gracious, you also have to allow yourself to be pulled in. So open yourself up to those nervous butterflies and say yes to those opportunities that are out there sometimes. So it's a journey, man, but it really hit home. And I was like, I just realized I'm nervous walking into this fitness class. How can that freaking be? So anyway, man.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I mean, you always put a number on how long we've been doing this, and I always feel a little nervous. I train at a couple of different gyms here at home, and they're two totally different cultures, two totally different environments. And one I go to because I just got to get her done, right? Because I've got to train, I got to get it done. When we get done with this podcast, that's where I got to go today. The other place, not only do I get after it, but that's where all my friends are. Mm-hmm. That's where my culture is. That's where my tribe is. Let me ask you this: when you went into that class, because I've taught a few instructors and trainers a few times, did that person ask who you were, like what your name was?
The individual came up to me, and this is such a great question. She came up to me. She noticed that I was new and never been to the class. Normally 90% of the people in there have been to the class. We did a fist bump, and it immediately relieved. It just made me feel better, and I don't think in this case, I'm not much different than anybody else. 10, 15 minutes in, I was finding my groove. It's that. I mean, to be honest, I've been behind the mic a million times. You and I have been on stage speaking to hundreds, if not thousands of people. You're lying. We're lying to you. In any great speaker's line, it's like there's not that little bit of nervousness every time we start a podcast. But once the juices start flowing, or once the class starts flowing, and you get some fist bumps, and that coach or trainer, and this is the call out, the challenge to all the coaches and trainers out there. You got to do what Jarod just said. You've got to relieve that tension. Have the great icebreaker. Have it. Tell some jokes, whatever. Make the people feel comfortable. Get those touch points. You know me, brother. Something I always do, and I know you do it as well. It gets a little hard if I'm talking to 200 or 300 people, but every class I do, I fist bump. I have to have physically touch every single person. A little tough during COVID, but you're going to get a fist bump from me if I'm coaching my class, because I want to accomplish exactly what you said that is so dang important.
Yeah, totally. And you remind me of our chest bumps we would do at Fort Bragg when we were training the soldiers too. So,
bam.
But and I think one other step to that is not only introducing yourself as the coach or the instructor of that class, but in your case, I would say, hey, Yancy, this is Susie. I introduce that new person to other people, because that's how you're building that tribe and getting everybody in that room or in that space very comfortable, because that's so critical. That's what's going to motivate people to keep coming back, to remove that intimidation factor.
And one more thing real quick. This is so important to our listeners who are searching for that class or searching for that, that fitness experience. There are some that are much better than others. They really are. And it's okay to go out there and look and shop and talk, because they're not everybody's a great coach. Not every group fitness instructor is good at what they do, but there are some great ones out there. Sorry to cut you off.
Right. Well, let me get back to our topic, finding the right fitness for you. So you named some of the challenges and the problems that are out there, and a lot of people don't know where to start, and they probably think or perceive fitness as being one dimensional. You've got to you lift, you do cardio, you go to a class, but there's so many different options out there. And what I always try to do with clients is really get them to focus on fitness as a sport, and find that sport of fitness. And to me, what that means is you're finding activities that you enjoy. Okay, things that you don't even think about how hard it is to actually accomplish that activity or get through it every day. And that could be something like hiking. It could be like running trails. It could be like some of the things we like to do, OCR or mountain climbing, those types of things. But if you can find those activities that are aligned with your purpose, as we mentioned in episode 1, and your goals, I think that's the first step, because it doesn't have to be just something you don't enjoy doing. So I really try to encourage people, hey, write down all those fitness activities that you actually like. And maybe they're not even fitness activities, they're physical activities that you like. And then in the other column, just simply place those that you don't in that column, and don't do them, because you have to find the right fitness for you. And I think the other thing that's cool about that is you can find new activities that you become passionate about, that you actually get excited about. And I know, like, some people haven't discovered that yet, or maybe there's just some things that they forget that they used to love to do in the past. So I really encourage people to do those things. And I guess that the question I have for you, Yance, is, and I think about this a lot, because you've had an accomplished coaching career, corporate professional life, but you found your sport, and that was obstacle course racing. What led you to that?
So I've been competitive my whole life. I grew up with a father, especially, but mom and dad both, that really graciously pushed me towards fitness. We grew up on hundreds of acres, and I was always out and about and running around through the woods and just having a blast. I lived a life as a kid. It was an obstacle course race when I would play. So I'm 40 years old, and Spartan comes along, and I did my first one, and I felt like a 40-year-old that got to jump back into his 8-year-old body. And it was like, oh my God, I can't ever imagine doing a 5K again, or the regular Masters track and field meet again. It was like, I got to be an 8-year-old again as a 40-something-year-old. And I was hooked, man.
Yeah. And you did a lot. You accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. When it came to training, how did you adapt your training from that point, once you discovered that passion that you had for obstacle course racing?
Well, the only major difference was all the running I had done throughout my life competitively, middle school, high school, college, and it was compromised running. Now there's like 30 obstacles thrown in my way as I'm on this trail running journey. So we call it compromised running. You're beating your body up, and then you're going to try to go hit that same tempo pace. So I started working in more compromised running. That 45-minute workout, instead of just being a run, it was broken up every 5 minutes with something that challenged my body, different muscle groups, different planes of motion. It really fatigued my body in a way above and beyond just running.
That goes perfect with your personality and your spaghetti brain too, because you don't like to hone in on one thing for too long.
Dude, as a coach, I was like, I got to coach the total spaghetti sport. They're always throwing something new at us and some wild, crazy obstacles on different terrain. I'm like, this is coaching heaven. There's no black and white. It's all great.
So I think to continue on, again, finding that right fitness for you is like, you found something that, one, you were already passionate about running. You were already really good at it too. And then you found something else that diversified something that you loved. And I think that's got to be the other step, part of this solution to finding the right fitness for you is being open to new activities, figuring out, is it something I like to do indoors or outdoors or both?
Yeah.
Is it something that I want to do by myself, or I want to do it in a group? And we know the advantages of working, or training with a group and building that, I guess that accountability system behind you, and also the motivation that you develop from working, training with a group. But some people, they don't always have that opportunity. So but in order to find that right fitness for you, you have to ask yourself those questions. And then the last piece of that, the real important question is, how much time are you willing to invest? And how many days a week, and writing out a schedule and all of those things. And again, the activities that you enjoy, the time that you're willing to put in, the environment you're willing to go into, all of those things have to be aligned.
Yep. Yeah. And I encourage people, one more solution that I'd like to add is I encourage you to stick with it just a bit. Kind of like that. I had to walk into that fitness class and I was a little nervous, and it almost every time, it may not happen in the first class, but if you allow yourself to stick with it for a bit, you will, your tribe may only be one person at first, but that attachment with that one person that that's going to come back to that class, you're pushing each other. So give yourself the ability to stick it out, and good things happen. And you get a little more comfortable getting over that nervous hurdle that you felt when you walked in. And you also want to, when we wake up, it's very important. I always tell my clients, when you wake up when you're 70, 80 years old, I want you to look back on it and say, did I enjoy this? If there's not a level of enjoyment, then let's make a shift, because you are so much more likely to stick with the program if there's a level of enjoyment. And it's not always like, oh, this sucks. This is just a sweat. That was just a good sweat and just exercise. There's a lot to be said about enjoying what we do when it comes to taking care of the beautiful machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing, I before this podcast session, I grabbed my Nalgene bottle here, because it's a climb, right? You got to have your Nalgene bottle. I go through about, I don't know, 14 or 15 of these every season, because I end up losing them. But it is a process, and I think to just recap all of this is, hey, number one, in week one we talked about this. We talked about finding your purpose, and today finding the right activities. Finding the activities that are going to motivate you and inspire you to get off that couch, or just to eliminate the excuses that you've had, perhaps if it's on that roller coaster ride that you've mentioned, or it's just you don't know where to start. Yep. And next week in our episode 3, we're going to talk about finding your tribe. Mm-hmm. And I think that one is a real important piece, especially for all of those awesome gym affiliates that we work with. So anything else you want to add, brother?
I would be doing a disservice if I didn't ask you. You asked about my Spartan racing world. I know you are at the ultimate peaceful level when you're on top of some of the most majestic peaks across our beautiful country that you've climbed to the top of, and you look out there. You gotta give me 30 seconds of your energy, of your why, and what you're feeling, man, because I know that's what drives you getting to the top of those peaks.
Yeah, well, I think, again, when it goes back to purpose, and for me, climbing mountains and snowboarding down them is something that I thoroughly enjoy. And I've been very, very, I think, grateful for the moments that I've had in the mountains. But I think that the driver for me, man, is it's out of fear. I have an immense fear of not having fun on the mountain. When I'm not in the condition I should be in when I'm on the mountains, whether that's to get up that mountain as fast as I can, or just to simply enjoy the experience, by the time you reach the summit and look at that awesome view. I fear the heck out of not having fun. And when I'm not in top peak condition for something like that, I don't have that much fun. And the mountains for me, I call it church. and that's where I fuel my spirit. And when I'm up there at church, I got to have a good time doing it. So that's I appreciate you asking that question. But we gotta find that place that not only fuels us physically and mentally, but emotionally. And I think that's when people are on the right track, when they can bring all those pieces together. And we're going to share more in the upcoming episodes on the Spartan Up Podcast.
Rock and roll, brother.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by AmazeFit. From May 18th to May 31st, Spartan Up listeners can head to us.amazefit.com/pages/Spartan to save $40 on a bundle that includes the AmazeFit T-Rex Pro. That's us.amazefit.com/pages/Spartan. Thanks for listening to this episode of the DEKA Series on Spartan Up Podcast. Spartan Up is your partner in resilience for mind, body, and spirit. We're here 3 days every week. Tuesdays, you can find Joe DeSena, founder and CEO of Spartan, interviewing biohackers, business leaders, authors, and athletes. Thursdays and Saturdays, catch episodes from our DEKA, Endurance, Trail, Combat, and La Ruta series. Do you know someone who needs a little nudge? Maybe they could use some motivation, tactics to be stronger, healthier, happier, more successful. Tell them about our show. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. We want to know who's watching and who's listening. Thanks. See you next time.